Great. We'll get started today with a little introduction about Umkc and Nactus. If you are already in Canvas and following the Launchpad page, you would have seen an announcement come out from me regarding Nactus, but we're really glad that Peter is able to join us to talk to us a little bit more about the organization.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Peter Trin, and a little bit about me. I just graduated from Umkc in a bachelor degree of computer science, and I'll be coming this fall semester for a master degree, also in computer science as well. So that's a little bit about me. So about Nactus, I am currently the vice president of operations for Umkc and Nactus. We are a student-led organization that focuses on solving the needs in the community using entrepreneur skills. Imagine that there are trashers on the streets, right? We don't go there and pick up the trash. We come up with a solution to remove the trash. We have had projects dealing with different serious problems in the world, such as plastic waste, food waste, waterborne illness, and so on. And those projects spanned across the world, such as China, Nigeria, Mexico, and obviously here in our own Kansas City. At the end of every year, we compete against over 400 teams across the United States to see which team has the greatest impact to the community. And guess what? Umkc and Nactus recently placed second in the entire nation. So second out of the entire 400 plus teams for the team that got the most impact. By attending the competition, you have a chance to meet with some of the most important executives of big corporations, and also on-spot interviews and direct job offers. So for myself, I have met with the CEO of Walmart, actually. I talked to him. He was a nice guy a few years ago. And a few of our Nactus members in the past got a straight direct job offers just by attending the competition itself. They didn't have to go through any sort of interviews process or anything like that. They got a straight up job offers. The unique thing about us is there's a role for everybody. It really takes a big and diverse group of members to think from different points of view. We have had members with not just business majors, but also computer science like myself, biology, criminal justice, education, psychology, and the list just keeps going. By joining Nactus, you have the opportunity to make a meaningful difference in your communities while gaining the experience, skills, and contacts necessary to build a successful career. If you're interested to join, I'm gonna go ahead and post a link in the chat right now. Give me 1 second. So if you're interested to join, there's a link in the chat right now for you to register. Basically, that one is just to capture your email address, your name, so that later on we can follow you with more information. There's really no commitment you must have. It can be as little as a few minutes or as much as a few hours per week, depending on how much time do you have. We really want to make this as a fun experience for you outside of classes, not something as extra burden for you. And everything is based on your own passion and not ours. We started projects based on your own passion as well. So let's say if you are really interested in solving the homelessness issue in Kansas City, or you have some connections in outside the United States, you want to start a project on. Here's a good place for you to start. We do have a lot of resources from around Kansas City and the Nactus network worldwide as well. So yeah, I'm going to open the floor for any questions and concerns you might have. Well, actually, let me first tell you that for the summer right now, we currently meet bi-weekly for our meetings, team meetings, but in the fall semester, we will meet every week on Tuesday at 5:30 p.m. And you don't have to attend team meetings. And again, there's no commitment you must have. You don't have to attend meetings to be kind of like a member for Nactus. you know, as long as you have some sort of contribution, whether you're part of project, you're part of the operations, you're making flyers, you're making videos, you're making content for us, you know, that's already good. So yeah, that's a little short thing about Enactus, and you can find a lot more information on our website as well, also including the chat. So yeah, do you guys have any questions, concerns you might have, anything you want to know more about Enactus in general, etc. I'm very happy to answer. And also, I just realized that we have Ben Wilson right here in the call. He joined Enactus, recently joined Enactus, and I don't know how. I hope that he Ben, you felt welcome and comfortable joining Enactus. But yeah, we have Ben Wilson right here for your reference. Yeah. Any other questions, concerns?
In Enactus, do you work on, is there one project that is being worked on by everyone, or are there multiple different projects going on at the same time?
There are multiple projects going on at the same time. And you can also, currently we have 3 existing projects, but you can come in and start your own project if you want. And we will, you know, there are a lot of team members. We have a good team of 50 active members, 50 active members to help you with projects or operations or anything like that. And the purpose of me, like right now, right, I'm trying to get a lot more students joining the organization so that we have a lot of human resources to kind of like build up the momentum of, you know, being second place in the nation 2 months ago. And we want to be the first place in the nation at the competition next May. So we really want to build up that momentum and get more members to attend and yeah, and support and change the world basically. I see the question in the chat, who attends the competition? Every member will have the chance to attend the competition. It really depends. So I don't know what's next year gonna look like because every year they kind of like change the format. But for the past 4 years, competition has been held here in Kansas City. So everyone will have a chance to you know, travel to the convention center downtown right there, and you know, enter the room and join the competition. But next year they might move to St. Louis, I believe. I cannot tell, but next year they might move to St. Louis. And definitely you can join the trip as well. But I believe UMKC Enactus will pay everything for you, including like hotel, you know, foods and everything like that for you to travel with us. But you know, there are limited spots. If you're active enough, and if we think that you could fit into this competition, then you know, you have a chance to be that part of the travel team, where you get like free hotel, free stay, free foods and stuff. But yeah, not just executive members, anyone can attend. Yeah, any other questions, concerns?
Thank you, Peter.
Yeah, yeah, thank you, Brittany. Thank you guys for letting me be part of this, and really look forward to see some, if not most of you, if not all of you, join Enactus in the upcoming weeks. Our next meeting will be next Tuesdays, actually. So if you want to attend that Tuesday meeting, you know, click the registration form now. And fill in your information, and then I will be following up with you sometime soon with the information and the link to join the meeting. Yeah, thank you, Brittany. Thank you, everyone, for the opportunity. Have a good afternoon. Have a good session.
Thanks. And I'll just reiterate that Enactus is a fantastic organization to be part of. And Mac, during the H&R Block panel, you asked about resources that UMKC has for starting your own business. And so I highly recommend getting involved with Enactus early. I think it'll definitely help you. And then in addition, you'll take Jeff Hornsby's entrepreneurship class. And so that you'll get all kinds of good tips and information and resources from his class. And then in addition, there is another class called eScholars. And with that class, you kind of go through the process of actually starting your own business. So either you come in with an idea or you develop an idea throughout your time in the class. And I think we have several Launchpad scholars that are going to be part of the next iteration. So I can definitely connect Mac, especially if you're interested, with the program director for eScholars.
Thank you. Cool. All right. Bye, Brittany. Bye, everyone. Have a good afternoon.
Thanks, Peter. So our cohort 29 representatives today for the Q&A session is Trevor Davis, and then Abby is unfortunately sick, and Jordan Daniels. They're both cohort leaders for cohort 2019, but I'll turn it over to them to introduce themselves.
All right, I guess I'll go first. I'll just introduce myself real quick. My name is Trevor. I am going to be a sophomore in the fall at UMKC. I am a marketing major. I work in the undergrad recruitment office under Scott. So some of you might remember me. I might have called you reaching out about Launchpad. I am vice president of administration at Alpha Kappa Psi, which is a professional business fraternity on campus, and also chair of Launchpad, which you guys might have questions about, like what cohort leaders are for Launchpad and all that. So we might be able to cover that later in the session or later in the year, whichever works for y'all. But that's just a little bit about me. I'll turn it over to Jordan.
Thanks, Trevor. What's up, everyone? My name is Jordan. I am going to be a senior this year. I am an accounting student, so if you're an accounting student, come my way. I can help you out for sure, or anyone really. I also work in Scott's office with Trevor, so I've probably called a few of you as well, sent some emails as well. And I am also vice chair of service events with Block Launchpad.
Great. And if scholars have questions, feel free to put in the chat or go ahead and speak up. I do have one question already from a scholar that was unable to attend this afternoon. And the question is, what are the things that best helped you succeed at UMKC, and what internships are you currently involved in, and how did they affect your career path?
Well, I guess I'll tackle that one first. Personally, I haven't had an internship yet, just because it's been so early. I know Jordan has, so he'll kind of talk about that. But I know the first thing you want to do when you come to UMKC is talk to the Career Center, because every business student will tell you that internships are one of the most important parts of college, and the Career Center will hook you up with that. That's kind of the goal with Launchpad too, is to kind of get you involved and connected with businesses through like special opportunities. So internships are definitely a large part, but I forgot the first part of that question.
It was what best helped you succeed at UMKC.
Well, it's definitely different than high school. So college, there's a lot more responsibility. People tell you this all the time. This is very new to me because I just got through my freshman year. And especially during this next year, it's going to be a little wonky because the whole COVID situation. So online class will definitely be different. But the one thing I'd say is just stay on top of your work and don't procrastinate like I did and a lot of people did in high school, because it will definitely get you in trouble, especially with online, where you have even more responsibility and temptation to just not go to class. So that's my take. I'll hand it off to Jordan.
Yeah, kind of bouncing off of what Trevor said about the Career Center there, it's really important to get in there early on. They help a ton. I guess I forgot to mention, I transferred to UMKC last year. So coming in my junior year, they helped me get an internship. Probably, I think it was only like 2 months into the year. So definitely get in there as soon as possible, whether it's to create a resume, even if you don't have one, which I'm assuming most of you probably already have one. If not, that's fine. They can help you create one or kind of revise the one you have, kind of help make it a little bit better. And then also kind of preparing for those interviews. I was supposed to have a different one this summer, but they got canceled due to COVID, obviously. But they were a big help with kind of preparing me for the interview questions, just kind of getting me ready for, or kind of like what to expect for the interview. So I would definitely use the Career Center resources as soon as possible.
Jordan, do you want to talk a little bit about your internship?
Yes, so I am a finance analyst intern with Boulevard Brewing Company here in Kansas City. I've been there for, it's coming up on a year now, so it's been a while. But I do a lot of budget work with them. I do a lot of pricing on a lot of the new beers that come out. I kind of help see if they're profitable at all, and then I also reach out and I do a lot of the forms and contact work with Walmart, Kroger, Whole Foods, like all the big chains that carry all of our products. So it's a lot of communication, a lot of filling out forms, unfortunately, but it's a lot of fun.
Great. And again, if you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask them. I know something that's come up both in emails and then also from cohort 2019 was a little bit of like anxiety around how many engagement points you are expected to get to remain part of Launchpad. And I'm gonna kind of turn this over to Jordan and Trevor a little bit because they both were able to get their points fairly quickly. And so I think they can tell you firsthand that there isn't really much to worry about, but I'll let them talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, there really isn't much to worry about when it comes to getting points to stay eligible for Launchpad. Well, the main part of the points is just to kind of promote being active in college, not just going to class and going back to your dorm. So if you just get active, which also helps you succeed in college, then you'll be fine with the points. Especially next semester, it might be even easier than last year because instead of having to actually go to an event, a lot of these meetings and such, I know the Career Center is doing online stuff next year as well. You just have to kind of log into your computer and tune in and be engaged in that. So I think, like, I'm not a super go-getter, but sometimes I'm interested in stuff. And literally, you could go to like a basketball game for like 5 points. You have to get 50 total. And you could get your points within like the first month of college if you're active. So there shouldn't really be any anxiety with the points. It's basically just to promote being active on campus.
Yeah, kind of bouncing on that, I would not stress too much about points at all. I mean, I wouldn't say don't worry at all about points, but you'll definitely be fine. One of my favorite things to go to was I think it was first Wednesdays, right? That was a lot of fun. I'm pretty sure it was 10 points for that. So I went there 3 times. It's a good learning opportunity. It's also a good way to get points, which is another kind of thing about these points. Is like, yeah, you're doing it for points, but it's also good experience, and you learn a lot of good things when you're at these events, and you get to connect with your peers as well as employers around the Kansas City area. So I mean, all around, it's a great opportunity. So I would not stress it at all. You guys are all going to be fine.
I would reiterate too that even if we have to move things online in the fall, or if we have more online events, that I think Trevor mentioned that it actually makes it a little bit easier to get points, and I would agree with that. And you guys did such a great job this morning with the panel that I have no concerns about your engagement online. So I think in terms of points, everyone's going to do great. Do you guys have specific questions about the program that you want to ask, or do you guys have any suggestions? So Jordan and Trevor are going to be helping plan events for you guys as well, even though they're cohort 2019 leaders. You guys obviously don't have leaders in this first semester, so they're going to have a lot of say in what you guys are doing, especially socially. So if you guys have any ideas or there are things that you want to do, go ahead and throw those out now too.
Yeah, or just questions about, first semester college.
Yeah. Question, do the points have to be earned with block or with other clubs?
They can be earned with basically anything. I mean, there will be a list on Canvas. There'll be a Canvas page if any of you have used it before, for Launchpad, and it has a list of like categories of points. But honestly, if there is something else that's not on that list, you could always talk to Brittany, and if it's an actual thing, then she will most likely give you points for it. But there are a ton of clubs on campus you could get involved in, and there will probably be points applicable for those clubs.
Well, I have time to
Oh.
have a job, but also attend block events and earn my points.
Yeah, I guess I can kind of answer that one. I worked kind of at the start of last year. I guess I had my internship, and then I also worked at Target a little bit as well. On top of that, yeah, you can definitely. I mean, it might be a little struggle to kind of balance some time, but I would say figure everything out early on and kind of make a schedule of everything. That's why it's definitely important to, if you're going to be pretty busy, to kind of keep track of time and everything, and kind of manage your time and kind of map out some events. That way you're better off getting your points earlier on than later, and then not kind of falling short towards the end of the semester. So I would just recommend kind of finding that right balance and then going to events that you can as the semester goes on, so you can fulfill your points.
Yeah, definitely. And Jordan and Trevor, do you guys remember what Aaron and Maggie's suggestion was in terms of getting points last year?
Oh
So,
gosh.
so activities really slow down after spring break around campus, especially.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember.
Definitely, you'll want to get your points prior to spring break. And again, I think Trevor, you had all your points within the first month. I know other scholars did too. So there's no reason to wait until the end. How do you keep track of points? So I'll answer that one. That's very much self-reported within Canvas, and you can either write like a short little write-up. We have suggested questions that you can answer, or you can upload a picture from the event, and then I'll go through and give you guys points for those events. Is there a calendar of events that is available for us? There is a calendar within Canvas, and so if you already go into Canvas now, we've put a lot of the career services events in there, and then there are also a couple of Launchpad events in there as well. Is there an amount of time that you need for the internship? Mason, you asked that question. Can you can you kind of go into a little bit more detail about that question? We'll come back to that one. Will Trevor and Jordan be points of contact in knowing upcoming events and opportunities?
I mean, yeah, I know last semester, I like, especially second semester, I had tons of people like Snapchatting me or messaging me like, oh my gosh, I need my points. What did you do? I need to go to something. Like, will you go with me and stuff like that? Like, I think one of the best ways to get points is honestly just meeting people in Launchpad and going with them just to make it fun and make friends. But yeah, I would definitely be glad to be a point of contact for upcoming events. I know Brittany is also one. The careers, like the Career Center for Block is definitely one, and they're super easy to find what their events are. They're on Instagram, like all the social medias. But yeah, I'd definitely be willing to help out, especially stuff that's like not just block, but like maybe other stuff on campus or stuff off campus too that you can get points for.
Yeah, same goes for me. If you guys ever have any questions or anything, don't hesitate to reach out and contact me as well. I would be glad to help.
And Maggie, one of our career coaches, said we will post all Career Center events on Handshake as well. So Maggie, do you want to talk a little bit about Handshake real quick?
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Maggie Raylan. I'm the Professional Development Manager in the Block Career Center, so I will be meeting with all of you at some point this year. But we have this great platform called Handshake, and that is where we post all of our jobs and internships. Jordan, I think that's where you originally saw the Boulevard internship if that's,
Yep. I think
Yeah.
it was on Handshake. Definitely get on there early.
yeah, definitely. You guys, if you're enrolled, you should already have access to it. You just use the same email and password that you use for like your Outlook, your email, Canvas, Pathways. It's all the same credentialing, but I'll put the link to access it in the chat here in a second. But that's where we post, again, all of our jobs and internships, all of our upcoming events. That's where you make appointments with our staff. So really anything you can think of that sort of falls under that Career Center umbrella, that will be housed on Handshake. Thanks, Brittany.
Thanks, Maggie. Are there multiple different business fraternities?
Yeah, so there are 2 professional business fraternities on campus. One of them is DSP Delta Sigma Pi, which is strictly for business majors only, business and accounting majors. And they are the largest on campus. And then there is Alpha Kappa Psi, which I'm a part of, which is a business fraternity, but it's open to all majors on campus. So there's some diversification with that. They're both great. We kind of have a rivalry, but it's friendly.
Great. If you're currently an intern or have recently been an intern, can that time be retroactively counted for the program? Dustin, let's talk about that a little bit. I think the goal is to have as many internships as possible. I think both the dean and then H&R Block mentioned that as well. Dean Kloss mentioned that Henry Block really wanted to make sure that students were getting out and about in the community. I will say with the internship component, you only need to have that done once per program or prior to graduating, so you don't have to get it completed this year. So there's probably a little bit of leeway in terms of counting that. I would highly recommend, though, seeking out more internship opportunities if you can.
Brittany, can I do a quick shout out for our career fairs?
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. So especially if you guys are transfer students, so you're coming in as juniors, it's going to be really important that you go to our career fairs. They'll be virtual, but all the info will be on Handshake. But we'll have, 70, 80 companies there, and they'll all be doing recruiting for internships for summer of 2021. So it's super important that you attend that event and start networking with employers. It's basically exactly what Steve and his team from H&R Block were talking about earlier. H&R Block does all of their recruiting in the fall. It seems early, but that's actually when a lot of companies do their recruiting for internships for the following summer. So that big fair will be September 16th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And again, it'll be virtual. So you'll go on Handshake about a week before and you'll sign up for different time slots with the companies, and they'll just be these 10-minute slots. You'll send them your resume, you'll have a quick conversation about your interests and what you want to do, and then hopefully get invited back to interview. If you're an accounting student, the accounting career fair, I believe, is on September 10th, and it's in the afternoon from 4 to 6 p.m., and it'll be exactly the same thing. You'll schedule 10-minute slots with employers, and you will talk to the firms in hopes of then turning that around to get an interview. So you definitely want to start early. If you are a freshman or a sophomore, you are absolutely more than welcome to attend. And it's always a good idea to, again, start networking early. But definitely for juniors, this is like go time.
Great. Any other questions?
I like to just go back to my, I made a mistake I missed out on Beta Alpha Psi as one of the business fraternities. I guess I forgot because I'm not an accounting major, and Beta Alpha Psi is only for accounting majors, which is awesome. Beta Alpha Psi is awesome. Sometimes they hold like mini career fairs for just like some accounting companies that come in, and they have guest speakers and all that. So if you're an accounting major, I definitely look at Beta Alpha Psi next semester.
Great. So I know we're supposed to do an internship before we graduate. Doesn't matter where and how long our internship is. So Maggie and I will work together to identify if your internship meets that criteria. But there isn't necessarily anything in place right now saying that it has to be a specific length, and we definitely don't have criteria around where. We just want to make sure it's kind of a meaningful opportunity for you. So definitely as you start getting internships, please reach out to Maggie and myself. If students have internships more than one summer, do they generally return to the same company the following summer or work with different companies? Maggie, do you want to address that one?
Absolutely. So we see both. Certainly we have students who they start interning, after their sophomore year with the company and they go back every single summer, or they even work part-time for those companies during the year. And then they get a full-time offer and they go work full-time for that company. We see it all the time. We also see students do completely different internships, much like Jordan. They go to one company and then the next summer they go to another. The other opportunity that you guys have, because you're in an urban area, is that you will have the chance to do internships during the semester as well, just like Jordan was talking about with his internship with Boulevard, because we have companies here in the Kansas City area who need help during the fall and spring. So we will post all of those different internships on Handshake, but whether you stick with the same company for multiple internships or you diversify and do lots of different companies, both are great. There is not one way to go over another. The only difference sometimes is with accounting. If you want to go public, that's a whole conversation for another day, but because that's so if you guys are accounting students and you want to go into public accounting, definitely make an appointment with me ASAP. That's just a totally different path that we'll want to kind of talk through. But yeah, so really either one is great.
Great. Any other questions? Scott has a question for Trevor and Jordan. Can you share some challenges that you've experienced aside from COVID during your first year at Umkc and how you navigated your way through them?
Okay, well, other than COVID, which was super weird the second semester, I made the mistake of not going through my classes kind of like high school on the first day. And that was a nightmare. So I was like walking in wrong buildings for my first class. Thankfully, the professors are understanding about that. But I don't know, this is tough. Surprisingly, getting involved wasn't a challenge because the Umkc clubs and like activities do a really great job at reaching out to you, especially like during the week of welcome. I guess the biggest challenge was just the transition from high school to college and having to do a lot of the learning yourself instead of it just being handed to you. And the amount of time I had to put in out of the classroom instead of just doing most of it inside the classroom. Kind of that transition was probably the most challenging thing for me.
I would say probably just kind of finding that perfect balance of everything. Obviously, you're going to have your classes, Launchpad, and whatever other clubs that you guys decide to join. Like I said kind of earlier, just kind of take everything you have and try to make a schedule that works for you. I mean, obviously, you need some time for yourself as well as your homework and all that stuff. So I would just say trying to find that right balance. You want to do that pretty early on so that way you can ride it out the rest of your college career, college experience.
Yeah, and I'll just add on to that. Especially a business major, companies are definitely going to want to look at how involved were you outside the classroom? What all have you done? And people go all out, especially during their first semester. They're like, I'm going to get involved in this and 5 other things. And that's great and all, but I just take the first semester to kind of test the waters and test your boundaries of how much you can do. Because I know a lot of people get involved in tons of stuff in high school and then get burnt out. So I would just recommend testing your limits the first semester before you might get over involved or overwork yourself.
Building off of that a little bit, if you run into any problems either with classes, you feel like you're feeling overwhelmed with assignments or overwhelmed with trying to get your engagement points, please just come see me or Maggie or your academic advisor. We all have so many resources that we can help you guys with so that you don't have to feel like it's a big struggle. With your involvement working classes, how many credits did you usually take during a semester, and what was the best way to balance everything?
So I took the usual 15 credit hours for the semester, which is what most people do. You could do 12, 18. Some people are crazy and do like 20, just to get college over quickly. But with working classes and other stuff, I personally went through my schedule and made it to where I have like all my classes like 3 days of the week or early in the day. And then I had 1 day of the week just off. So part of it was scheduling and part of it was just preparation for the week. Um, this might be terrible, but doing work over the weekend to get ready for the week always helped me out, even though I hated it. But it's basically the same as balancing stuff in high school. Just make sure you plan and don't put stuff off until on the way to class the morning of, because it will end up biting you in the back at some point.
Yeah, I took 15 credits every semester except for these last two. I only have to take 12 these last 2 semesters, which is kind of nice. I mean, obviously challenging classes, but so I also loaded up my classes on 2 days of the week. So because I kind of live not super far, but it's kind of a drive, so I figured it makes sense to just be here like Tuesday, Thursday. That's what I do, and that way I can work Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then I have the weekends off. And I usually use Sunday as like kind of a reset day. If I have any like outstanding homework or anything, just something I need to get caught up on, I usually use Sunday as a day to get caught up on that. So that's usually what I would do. Everyone is different. I wouldn't say there's like a generic thing that you have to follow. I would just say find whatever works for you, whatever works best for you.
Yeah, that's true. And I totally forgot to mention, this might be like an idea for questions, but yeah, Jordan and I are both commuter students. So if anyone's going to be commuting next year and you have any questions about that, just let us know. I personally, I schedule my classes so that I wouldn't leave during rush hour or get there during rush hour. So that might be an idea for some people.
What are you involved in at UMKC?
So both of us are involved in Scott's office, which is the undergrad recruitment. So we do a lot of tours for incoming students, a lot of outreach. If any of you were in DECA or FBLA, we do some of that stuff. Unfortunately, this past year we couldn't go to state because it got canceled, but we do that. And then for me, I'm involved in Launchpad. We're new to this whole cohort lead stuff, so we're trying to get that figured out. And then I'm involved in Alpha Kappa Psi. So we do a lot of events with that. It's kind of social / professional mix. We went on a Chicago trip last year for a professional conference, which is fun. But that's what I'm involved in.
So yeah, Trevor gave it the rundown for me as well. I work in Scott's office, also in Launchpad. I used to be in DSP, one of the business fraternities, but I had to drop that, just time commitment and jobs and internships. But I would still definitely recommend getting involved and just finding the right fit for you.
Great. And if there are no other questions, we're going to go ahead and do a little ice-breaking activity so that you guys can get to know each other a little bit better. This game is called Aliens Have Landed. I guess in this liftoff scenario, you guys are the aliens. You've come across this other planet. There's these other beings that live there, but they don't speak the same language as you. And so you have to draw 3 images that describe either you or stuff that you're interested in. And we'll give you 3 minutes to do that. But real quick, just to show you that you don't really have to be like awesome at drawing. Here is mine, and I can't see myself view, so hopefully you guys can see it. And you guys don't have to guess, but I have a cat, so I have your cat. I also was an undergrad at UMKC, so this weird looking dinosaur bunny thing is actually a kangaroo. And then this is an apple, and that's because I lived near and worked in NYC for about 5 years. Maybe we have some questions real quick, hold on. what is the process you have to go through to work in Scott's office? Okay, Scott answered that, so never mind. So I'm gonna go ahead and play a little music, and then you guys have 3 minutes to start drawing either what you're interested in or something about you. And Jordan and Trevor are going to do this as well.
Did you ever have to make up your mind? Not all that easy. Did you ever have to make up your mind? Did you ever have to finally decide? Say yes to one and let the other one ride. So many changes, tears you must hide. Did you ever have to finally decide? Sometimes there's one with you. Just when you get stolen by some mess, know you better make up your mind. Pick up a wall and leave the other behind. All the easy and all of the kind. Did you ever have to make up your mind? Sometimes you really do. Then you get distracted. When it walks your father and takes you in line. So you better say yes to one and the other one. So many changes, yes, you must hide. Did you ever have to finally decide?
Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and break you guys into little breakout groups of probably about 5 to 6. And then if you'll introduce yourself within your breakout room, and then also go ahead and share your drawings, and then have the other people in your breakout group try to guess what it means and why it's important to you. I'm gonna go ahead and break you guys out. If you're not done drawing, no big deal. You guys can still continue to work on that. And I'll see you here in a little bit. And if you haven't yet, I think you just have to accept the invite to go to your breakout room.
I know a lot of schools are doing it. I think Mizzou is one of them. But are we taught like canceling all the breaks through this semester to try and get done early? Are they talking about that here too or no?
I don't think it's a consideration right now. I know it's been talked about throughout the summer, but as far as I know, we're not planning to do that right now.
Okay.
And kind of building off the cashier's office billing question, I would also recommend, if you haven't checked your financial aid account yet, going in there. And if your Launchpad scholarship is not in your account, please email me and we'll get that taken care of for you.
Is that like the thing on Pathway where you like accept and decline awards?
Yes.
Are we supposed to be doing anything for our student IDs right now too? They mentioned something for it at orientation, but I feel like there was like we're supposed to upload a picture, but I don't know where.
It's a good question. Scott, have you seen anything about that yet? I'm gonna try to.
I haven't seen anything in regards to student IDs yet. Advising may know a little bit more about that. I was trying to do some research about that actually after the question was presented there.
Yeah, I'm Googling it right now too.
And obviously things have changed because usually it's an in-person process where you have a picture taken and then they print it out for you on the spot, but it's changed a little bit this year.
So the RU card, when I hit get your RU card, it went to a 404 page, so there might not be a lot of information out right now.
So if I still have some financial aid that's being sent to the university, when does it need to like get there by? Exactly, if you would know.
I don't know off the top of my head when that would need to be done. I can email Chelsea about that unless, Scott, you know off the top of your head.
I would say that August 10th would probably be a good target date for that as well.
That's what I put on my forms, but I didn't know if it needs to be before that because they send the bill August 10th. I didn't know how that,
The earlier that you can have any types of external financial aid coordinated with the financial aid and scholarships office, the better, because I know they're pretty backlogged right now, which is I think why Brittany had presented the fact that you should email her if your scholarships haven't hit yet, because we've been working pretty closely with them on a variety of different things, and I know that they're a little bit backed up with adding awards and things of that nature right now.
We had a question about, do we have to buy all our books from the bookstore, or is there a place where we can see what books are needed online? So typically you'll get a syllabus from your professor, and you can look online for your books, or they are usually pretty conveniently at the bookstore. So I think that's kind of a personal preference as to what you would like to do personally.
Yeah, the bookstore also has this feature where you can insert your classes in your professor and it'll show you what books they have for the record for that class. And they'll have them online at the bookstore, or sometimes you can get them cheaper outside the bookstore. But I'd probably wait until syllabus to make sure you actually need the book before you spend money on it.
And this message was sent to me privately, but I think it's a really good question. It was whether or not the Launchpad scholarship is combined with the matching automatic award. In this case, it was asked about the transfer scholarship, or if it's listed on its own. You will see the Launchpad scholarship on its own. Do you guys have any other questions?
So to see your bill, you can look in TouchNet, I believe. That's what I did the other day, to like see like what like the tuition comes out to and all that. That makes sense. So
Okay,
you guys remember about that.
Actually.
How are club meetings going to be handled with the pandemic? Jordan and Trevor, did you guys have any club meetings before the end of semester last year?
Yeah, so I had a couple AK Psi meetings that were online, and like our first two cohort meetings were online for Launchpad. And we're still discussing on what we want to do. We're basically just waiting for university policy to figure out what we can do. Most of it's probably going to be online. But yeah, we might have some in person that's like socially distanced in the classrooms. But kind of mixing that online, that's kind of what we're thinking. basically just trying to be compliant with university rules.
Absolutely. I know for a Launchpad, when we have large events, kind of like this event, when you guys have cohort meetings, those will be online, and we'll try to have social events in addition to that are probably smaller group events, so that you guys can interact with each other, but we probably wouldn't be able to get a space big enough for everybody. Is the Launchpad Award the same thing as the Block Award? It is. So you'll see, I think named in your account, it'll say something like the Henry W. Block, either Capstone or Legacy or Impact, or there's 3 other awards. You'll see one of those, and it should match the award in the Launchpad selection email that you received from Scott.
I'll also add to that to mention that if you have applied for other block scholarships as well, you may have multiple block awards listed. Or it's possible if your Launchpad award hasn't been added yet, but you have a block award on your account, that your Launchpad award hasn't shown up yet. So really, as Brittany mentioned, I would look at the dollar amount and match it to the email that you received prior. And if those don't match, let us know so that we can follow up and clarify all that for you.
Great. Any other questions?
Yeah, I've got a quick question. So I'm taking a couple classes over the summer, and I'm at the 3.5 GPA level for the scholarship, and I'm at like a 3.73. And if I get my GPA up to a 3.75, do I bump up to the next tier, or am I at the tier I'm at right now?
Through your UMKC classes? Is that what you're asking, or through your high school classes?
For the scholarship, the block scholarship.
But you're saying like either from the school that you're transferring from or your high school?
Well,
yeah.
Let's have college GPA already.
Yeah, so if you if your GPA bumps up to the next highest scholarship, just send me an email and we'll work on that. We'll need to see your final transcripts, but you wouldn't, and then we'd have to take it through admissions to see what your calculated GPA is, and then we would be able to make a final decision at that point.
Thank you.
Yeah. Are Launchpad scholars required to take on any extra classes or do any extra projects? So there are no extra Launchpad classes. In terms of projects, there's just kind of recommended projects to work on. You'll see those from different companies because Launchpad is a trusted partner, but it's not necessarily a requirement other than the 5 things that you kind of have to do to be able to remain a Launchpad scholar beyond just your points. I would say those are the only like extra projects. Great. I'm going to let you guys kind of wrap up a little bit early. Feel free to email me any questions that might pop up. And then I want to encourage you guys to start checking your UMKC email address. All my future communications will be going to your UMKC address instead of your personal email. And then if you haven't gotten onto Canvas yet, please do that. Morgan, you asked about the 5 things. So it's attend Liftoff and then reentry in the spring. So you're halfway to that one. And then there is getting your internship, which is once per program. You have to meet with me, Maggie, and then your academic advisor once per year. And you have to join a student club. So that actually might only be 4. And then, you know, in addition, you have to get your 50 points, which there's like a wide variety of ways to do that. Is the Launchpad scholarship refundable when combined with other scholarships we've already been awarded? It depends on the scholarships and what, from a Launchpad standpoint, they are refundable, but not all scholarships allow you to refund, even if it's from a different scholarship. And so financial aid will help with that. They'll be able to calculate how much you would be refunded if you're allowed a refund. And then I saw we can get points for doing a study abroad experience. If we did one from a previous institution, can we still try and get those points, or does it have to be through UMKC? So everything that you're getting points for are like current things that you're doing now that you're a Launchpad member. We don't really take into consideration past events. Great. If there's nothing else, thank you guys so much for spending your Friday with us. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to email me and I can help you out. See you guys soon.